Hello and welcome to the winter 2015/2016 anime chart season preview thing. I never know what title to call it, which is why I always kind of stumble right there. Anyways, I am your guide Riyoga, as per usual. Um, yeah, let's just get right into it. I guess there's not much to say other than that. Um, this is we're there's going to be a slight difference in this season preview compared to others because this is slightly late, but I'm going to take that lateness to my advantage. You'll see what I mean. I'll talk about it more when we actually get into the shows. But as usual, as per preface, we are largely going off of the chart for each season as per usual. I can't guarantee the quality of any of this, no matter what my opinion is on any of them. I could say some show looks like complete trash and it turns out to be good. I could say some show looks like it's going to be phenomenal and turns out to be complete garbage. You never really know. And honestly, it's hard to call on any of these when you're just looking at a promo image and a synopsis because it doesn't account for execution, which is plays a pretty big part on whether you like something or not. Though I guess there's a bit of an addendum to that usual little note that I put there, but like I said, we'll get into it in a minute. So let's move right in. We're going to skip the first thing on the chart, IRA or whatever. It's some commercial pachinko thing. Like, you're not going to fucking find this anywhere on the internet. And it's not going to be translated, even if you did manage to somehow find it. So who really cares? So the first real show we have is Prince of Stride Alternative. Stride is an extreme sport that involves 6 people on one team who run relay races through towns. Honen Academy and other schools compete to win Eastern Japan's top stride competition, End of Summer. However, Honem's team has shut down. First-year high school students Takeru Fujiwara and Nana Sakurai attempt to restart the club, but they must recruit 6 members for the team. They ask Riku Yagami to help, but he turns them down by saying that stride is the one thing he doesn't want to do. So, I mentioned that things were going to be a little different, like, a minute ago. I don't know why I have to repeat myself. What's going to be different about this, because it's late, is normally, even when I'm a bit late on the season preview, I refrain from doing anything in regards to the season until I do the season preview. It's partly a motivation thing, get the season preview out so I can start watching shows. This time, I knew it was going to be a while before I could actually get started, so I knew I was going to be way behind on shows to begin with, so I started watching them. Which actually kind of works, because now instead of just guessing based on, the synopsis and promo image and some random shitty research that I did, which is mainly just looking at the director and music person, I can actually just tell you what I thought of the first episode, which is infinitely more helpful than guessing what I think the first episode will be like. Again, it still doesn't account for taste. You will like things that I don't like, and I will not like things that you do like. But I can regardless give you an opinion and try and give an unbiased summary of what you might, if you might want to watch the show, I guess, is a way to put it. So for Prince of Stride, it's an episode that I did watch. I guess I should also add, I watched the first episode of pretty much everything that's aired to this point that I was interested in. So the stuff that I didn't watch because I wasn't interested in it, I still did the research thing on, and we'll go over those when we get to them. But I watched almost everything on this chart, actually, that's aired so far, which is ridiculous. Anyways, Princess Stride's first episode was pretty solid. I liked it quite a bit. Stride is basically parkour. It's pretty fucking obvious, but the running scenes were cool. There was only one running scene, honestly, other than the really short prologue, but the animation in it was really well done, and I believe the music was too. I don't have the greatest memory when it comes to music. Usually on rewatches when I notice the music way more effectively, but I remember the race that they did being really good. Like, it was very engaging, because the way the directing was done made it really powerful in a way. Like, when they first start off on their run and they have, the foot back and they just, like, go when, the start happens. I am so good with words today. When the start happens. There's, the animation's done is, like, the foot shoots forward and, some dust picks up behind them, and, the attention to detail on the running and stuff, it makes it feel like there's lots of weight behind it. So I can imagine the races being really, really cool to watch. There's also, and they probably can do that level of animation and attention to detail and such on all the races, I imagine, in this show, because there's also going to be a decent amount of downtime where they're just like in, the club talking to each other about stuff and getting ready for things. The pacing of this episode actually reminded me a lot of Yowamushi Pedal, So if that was a show you enjoyed, then this is probably something you should watch. If you're not into sports shows, it's really still something you should watch. I say often that I'm not into sports shows, but this was fun. I enjoyed it. A lot of a lot of my previews are going to be basically, hey, watch it for yourself, because again, the entire point of this is, while it's largely to give my opinion on stuff, is trying to help you out. And really, the best thing I can do to help you out is tell you to make up your own damn opinion. Which seems counterintuitive to doing this whole thing in the first place, but, you know. Moving on, we have Sushi Police. I don't even know if I should bother reading synopsis for this, but fuck it. As the 2020 Tokyo Olympics leads to a boom in sushi worldwide, the anime's story follows the leader Honda, the data analyst Suzuki, and the android inspector Kawasaki, 3 men of Section 9 who investigate foreign restaurants. The other characters include the World Food Culture Organization's Director General Carlos, what a title, and Secretary Madame Fuji, and food critic Sarah. The title refers to a term used by Western news sources to refer to the Japanese government's initiative to offer official seals of approval to overseas Japanese food restaurants. That synopsis sounded way more convoluted than it really needed to be. As far as I'm aware of, I didn't watch this episode. I actually don't think it was available. I could have missed it, but I don't recall seeing it available easily. As far as I'm aware of, it's Sushi Police. They go around and they check out sushi and they grade it and stuff like that. Apparently, it's more interesting than that. Like, people seem to enjoy this. Like, it's one of those fun, because it's a short. It's not like super long or anything. I don't know how long of shorts though. Probably around 3 or 4 minutes, I'd imagine. So it's one of those quirky little shorts that you can watch. So if you like watching shorts, this is probably something you should check out. Like I said, I didn't see it. I must have missed it or something, because a lot of people have already seen it and I didn't see it, so I must have just missed it. I'm repeating myself. Moving on, we have Haruchika Haruta to Chika wa... That's a lot of Chikas. Haruchika Haruta to Chika wa Seishin Suru. Haruta and Chika are members of their high school wind instrument club that is on the verge of being shut down. The two are childhood friends, and they spend their days practicing hard while also trying to recruit new members. When a certain incident happens within their school, they work together to solve it. That synopsis really only describes the first episode, which is not very helpful. Basically, this chick goes to the school, and she likes playing instruments, and so she tries to join the band, and there's not many people in the band anymore, so... Or I guess it's what is it? It's either wind or wood instruments. I probably just read it in the synopsis, but it's a specific type of instrument, and they have like a club for it, and they perform music and stuff. I didn't care much for the first episode of this, but how do I describe this? You will probably like this show if you like most of PA Works shows. Other than Glasslip, because Glasslip was fucking garbage and nothing happened in that show. The typical slice of life shows that PA Works tends to do, where people just kind of walk around and things happen, it's very reminiscent of the atmosphere of other PA Works shows. So if you liked those, then you'll probably like this one. The only PA Works show that comes to mind right now, other than Glasslip, is Nagi no Asakura. I really should have taken note of some PA Works shows. That would have been easy to note. There was Hanasaku Iraha a long time ago. A long time ago. It was probably only like a year and a half ago. God, I cannot remember any other PA Works shows. Did they do Red Data Girl? That one just came to mind suddenly. I try and remember, because PA Works has like the same, except for this show, weirdly enough, they have this like glossy face design that they do for like all their character designs and all their shows. I mean, they also did Shirobako, but that was like a new team coming into PA Works to work on stuff, so it wasn't like a typical PA Works show for the most part. It was basically like there's people in studios that are like dedicated to the studio, and then there's like freelancers basically that go from studio to studio. It's too complicated to fucking explain and keep track of who does what, but it's basically the shortened summary of it is that Shirobako was not a typical PA Works show. It just happened to be made at PA Works. I got a little sidetracked there. Anyways, if you like other PA Works shows, you'll probably like this. I didn't care much for it. There was a little interesting twist at the end with the main male character that could go in interesting directions, but it could also just be a gigantic gimmick. Who knows? I don't know if I'll keep watching. Maybe I'll watch the second episode, see if it catches my interest a bit better, but like I said, if you liked other PA Works shows, you'll probably enjoy this. Moving on, we have Musagen no Phantom World. The story takes place in the near future in a world born of human imagination. What humans would call ghosts or monsters appear, and they come to be called phantoms. The main character, Haruhiko Ichijo, is a first year at Hosei Academy along with his upperclassman Mai Kawakami, who fights phantoms with the ability Spirit of Five Elements. Wow. Izumi Reina, who has the ability Phantom Eater, and Koito Minaze, who fights phantoms in solitude. They experience the ups and downs of high school life before a certain incident leads them to the truth of this world. Wow. I've watched the first episode of this, and even then that synopsis confused me, which is kind of fascinating. I watched the first episode of this. I kind of enjoyed it, actually. It's been getting a lot of crap lately because it's a KyoAni show, and there's lots of bouncing moves in it, so people are like, what the fuck, KyoAni? But I didn't mind it, honestly. Like, it wasn't done in, like, a really excessive way of, like, hey, you like fan service, don't you? Like, it wasn't really meta. It was just, she's got boobs, and they're big, and so they move. There was the one limbo scene, which was funny. You've probably already seen the limbo gif, if you have any interest in the show, but, it didn't bother me that much. I mean, if that kind of stuff bothers you, this is a show you should probably avoid, but otherwise, you might want to watch this, because, as usual, KyoAni is pretty fucking great when it comes to animation, and the little fight scene near the beginning where the main guy and girl, I guess there's two main girls now, but before she joins in, the main two characters do a little fight with a monster thing, and it's well animated and cool, and it was fun. And I imagine there's going to be more stuff like that happening, but there's also probably going to be a decent amount of, like, at the end of the episode where they have to do weird shit instead of straight up fighting. But that's fine by me. Like, if it wears out its welcome, which I could see it possibly doing, then I'd drop it. But based off the first episode, it was actually pretty fun. But like I said, if you're, like, inherently, like, if like, a boob bounces and it creates this, like, sonic shockwave that, like, enters your brain and just, like, immediately, like, turns, like, you know, you just turns to mush, it's not the show for you. But if you don't mind it, then you should give it a go. Moving on, we have Active Raid Kido Kyoshunshitsu, Jesus, Daihake. Set in a part of Tokyo that is descended into a quagmire, the story follows Unit 8 of the 5th Special Public Security Section's 3rd Mobile Assault Division, popularly called the 8th, who don powered armor will wear exoskeletons to counter the rise in crime. As far as I'm aware of, I think this show is actually being directed by the guy who did Code Geass, like the directing for Code Geass. That's just off the top of my head if I remember, because I didn't take notes because I watched the first episode of this. And the first episode of this was pretty fun. It's, because let me explain, it's not a very serious show, or I guess maybe it somewhat is, but not really. Because the entire point is that, I don't know if it'll be a recurring thing each episode. It seems like it will be, because, the culprits in this episode were two guys who had power suits that did, like, a very specific thing, almost kind of like a superhero that has a very specific power. And I could imagine each episode being basically new bad person has suit that does whatever, different power or whatever. But the episode is spent with the 8th Division trying to stop them, and they have to deal with a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit that doesn't let them do their job. Like when they're like, what's a good example? I'm saying like a lot. My NorCal slips out. What's a good example? It's hard to remember. It's been actually a couple days since I saw the episode, because I watched it the day it came out. But I think there's one where they want to mobilize in the first place, and they can't because maybe the danger level isn't set high enough, or they can't fight in one area because the damage is, like, it would be too much, and they haven't been approved to do that kind of, like, action in the area. I don't know. I'm describing it extremely poorly, but the point is that it seems like it's mainly a comedy series in the sense that they try and stop these guys from doing these things, but they have to deal with all the, you know, hoops of bureaucratic crap that they have to, like, get through to do anything. But that could have just been a first episode thing for, like, humor, and then they, like, completely drop that angle with the second episode. But the first episode's, like, a fun little angle from that, if that seems like your thing. I don't think I really know how to explain it other than that. Just, like, it's kind of weird. But it's not a very good indicator of where the show could end up going, for all I know. So it's not something I can say, like, watch the first episode and you'll have a good idea if you want to see it or want to watch the whole show or not. Which I'm actually probably going to do for a couple shows. because some do have good intro episodes. Yeah, it's really hard to explain. I guess if you liked the sort of humor in, well, I was gonna say Tiger and Bunny, but it's not quite the same, because that's more about the main character just being kind of a goofball, and the main humor rises from that. There's not really too much bureaucratic crap they deal with, other than the entire ranking system they deal with, but they enjoy the ranking system for the most part. Well, except for the main character, but it's similar, but not really, because it's a similar elements, but approached from a different angle. Really, at this point, I'm just saying words, and no one's keeping up with me, so I should just move on. Next, we have Shoujo Tachi wa Koya wo Mezazu. Mezazu. I don't know how you pronounce that. Whatever. Buntaro is a student who wants to be something, but doesn't know what. One day, his female classmate Sayuki announces she is working on a Bishoujo, pretty girl, just in case you didn't know, game. Sayuki scouted him because he wrote a good script for the drama club, but Buntaro doesn't know anything about Bishoujo games. So, this is a show that it took me a couple days to actually watch the first episode for, because I expected not to like it at all. And I actually kind of liked it, which is funny because I see reception all over the place about it being awful. And well, I guess I'm not really too surprised that I like something a lot of people out there don't. This is not a foreign feeling to me. It was weird because a lot of the things people were bashing were the things that I liked about the show. So it's gonna be really hard to say if this is a show you'd enjoy watching or not, because I mean, if it was just a matter of like sheer opinion, like I liked it but they didn't, but like the reasons largely lined up, it was just like certain things bothered other people more than me, then that'd be one thing. But it's literally I like this thing, and then other people saying I didn't like that thing, and it's like makes it hard to describe if people would like it or not in that case. I should probably stop talking vaguely so people can actually understand what I'm saying. Basically, I liked a lot of the writing in this show, between, like, dialogue between characters. Not accounting for main black-haired chick, I'll get to her in a minute. But there's a main trio of friends, which is the main character, and then his, like, buddy guy friend, and, energetic Genki girl, voiced by Hanakana, who is fucking great, I should say, by the way. She alone could carry the show, because she is tons of fun, and I can't wait to see more of her. Hopefully she doesn't get sidelined too badly. The interactions between the three of them are tons of fun. Like, they're like real people. Like, one of my favorite scenes is, I'm not gonna give like extreme detail, like word by word, but they're in the main dude's house. I don't know. I think he lives in an apartment. And they're talking about stuff, and as they're going over stuff, like they actually use like sarcasm and they poke fun at each other, and there's like this homeliness of like, you can tell that they've been friends for quite a long time. You know, there's this closeness to them that's really nice. And it's funny because a lot of the people that didn't like the show say they didn't like the writing, and I guess it doesn't necessarily mean the dialogue, but it's so weird that, I don't know. Like I said, I guess it's not that strange that I like something other people don't. As for the main girl, I said I'd get to her. I don't know how I feel about her. She's kind of a weirdo, and I'm not sure if it works in a way that I like. Because while the main trio is fun and quirky, they're not, like, explicitly weird. They're just comfortable around each other. And so, like, they do things that, you know, normal interactions between, you know, random classmates that you don't talk to that much wouldn't really, you know, be a thing you'd do. Whereas this new chick is just weird. Like, she likes Bishoujo games, and she's, like, religiously devoted to them, and she gives this excuse that's, like, not amazing. It's just basically, hey, Bishoujo games, you can make a ton of money off of them, or you can fuck up and make no money, and you're screwed. I don't know. There's even a specific part where he asks why she cares so much about Bishoujo games, and she's just like, I'm not gonna tell you. And then it just sort of moves on. It's like, what? I don't know. I'd say this is an example of a show that you should watch the first episode for and make your own decision. You'll either like it or you won't. It's not completely indicative of where the show's gonna go. It's more like a start. Well, I guess start and intro are the same fucking thing. It's, how do I explain this? It's an intro, but in the sense of, like, it's getting stuff out of the way, because what comes after this could be completely different, I guess. Whereas other shows are like, it's an intro to what's going to happen, but what's going to happen isn't going to be that different from what you've already seen, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, this is a show that's got a first episode that you can probably watch and have a good idea if you want to keep watching or not. So you should probably just do that. Moving on, we have Bokudake ga Inai Machi. Satoru Fujinuma is a struggling manga artist who has the ability to turn back time and prevent deaths. When his mother is killed, he turns back time to solve the mystery, but he ends up back in elementary school just before the disappearance of his classmate Kaio. That basic... Okay. I almost wish I hadn't read that, because that's basically the first episode. I mean, it's not like those twists are like a huge fucking deal to the story. Like, it's not like, oh my god, or anything like that. But, I don't know, it just kind of feels like the first episode has a little less impact if you know this information. I don't know. I guess I just contradicted myself. It doesn't really matter. The first episode of the show is pretty good. And that seems to be a lot more unanimous than Shoujo Tachi, at least. So, and this is the perfect example of, well, I guess this is also another example of, like, things could be different afterwards. But it's a very good intro episode in the sense that even though things are probably, there's a good chance that things will be approached from a different angle after the first episode. Maybe not, who knows. The first episode is still set up in a way that you will know if you want to keep watching or not. Whereas something like Shoujo Tachi, you aren't entirely sure because or like you like it but you're worried about it changing, or you don't like it but it could get better. This Bokudake is a bit different. You'll probably have a good idea if you want to keep watching or not after the first episode. I mean, there's still a chance that you could like it and then it turns out you don't like the angle it goes after that, but really I'm just adding superfluous information that doesn't really matter at all, and I'm just adding even more time to the season preview when I thought it would go faster because I watched the first episodes and give a lot quicker summaries, but apparently I just like to ramble about my first episode experiences regardless. Yep. Anyways, yeah, first episode, you should watch it. You'll know if you like it or not. I liked it. A lot of people seem to like it. You should probably watch it. Make your own decision. It's easy to, it's a bit hand-wavy to say, watch the first episode and make up your own decision, but I don't want to tell you what to think, and then also, it's like 20 minutes. Like, if you like anime, you can, well, that's kind of a generalization. Episodes are like 20 minutes. You have spare time to, just, if you're even interested at all, to watch the first episode and give it a go. Although I guess the entire point is that maybe you aren't interested and you watch it and then you are interested. This is going disastrously. Like I said, I thought this would go faster because I saw the first episodes and give quicker opinions on them because I'm not guessing. Turns out, it's the exact opposite, and I can't shut the fuck up about stupid shit. But then again, what's new? Watch the first episode, make up your own mind. Next, we have Oji-san to Marshmallow. The story centers around Hige, an older man, or Hige? I don't know. Probably Hige. An older man who loves marshmallows, and Wakabayashi, an OL office lady, okay, that's a thing I've never seen, who loves Hige. Basically, as far as I know, I didn't actually watch the first episode for this. The dude likes marshmallows, and the chick likes him, and she taunts him with marshmallows. It's actually been getting a somewhat conflicted views, because I've seen a decent amount of people say that they liked it and it was cute. It's a short, by the way. They liked it and it was cute and stuff like that, but I also see like the very occasional sprinkling of opinions where people are like, this is kind of creepy and weird in a way. Like, it's hard for me to explain because it's not really my opinion. It's just what I've seen people saying, so I'm just kind of going off of that, which I guess doesn't really help anyone. It's a short. It's even easier to watch the first episode of than half the shit I'm going to tell you to watch the first episode of out the entire chart. So really just watch the first episode of it and you can make up your own mind because it's a short. I don't know if it's a 3 or 4 minute episode short or a 7-minute one though. But either way, it's a short. Who cares? Moving on, we have Ansatsuko. It's Assassination Classroom season 2. It's the second season, so I don't have to go over it at all. If you watch the first season, you can watch the second season, and if you didn't, then you probably don't want to, because the second season starts off literally right where the first season left off, which I was surprised by. I wasn't expecting that. Like, as in, it's not really a spoiler, but the first season ended with them. They were doing things, which I won't explain, but they were on an island, basically. First episode of the second season, they're still on the island. It's like their last day on the island. So basically right where the first season left off. It was a good first episode. though, because it was, why am I talking? It's the second season. No one gives a shit. I don't need to sell this to people who haven't even seen the first season, and if anyone's seen the first season and they don't like it, they're not going to continue no matter what I say. And if they like the first season and they liked it, they're going to watch it no matter what I say. So what the fuck am I doing wasting my time? Now I'm wasting my time explaining why I'm wasting my time. Moving on. We have Phantasy Star Online 2, the animation. An anime adaptation of the Phantasy Star Online 2 RPG game, the series will have a completely original story that follows PSO2 players who may be near you on Earth in the near future. Wait, what? That last sentence, what the fuck? Anyways, this is probably the closest thing to Phantasy Star Online 2 that the Western audience is ever going to get that's official, which is unfortunate. Thanks Sega for never bringing Phantasy Star Online 2 an official release in the West, but that's okay because we have fan translations that you can find and download and such. So, hey. This first episode was pretty crap, as you'd expect from, you know, a game. I mean, it's not a game adaptation in like the sense that they're just adapting things that happen in the game. They're at least being a little more not straightforward. I don't know how to explain it. I wanted to say original, but original is still not the right word. Most game adaptation would just basically be like, here's the game in anime form, but that's not quite the case. This is basically like this school, which hilariously there's like an overhead shot, and like it's the middle of the school, so there's like a bunch of paths converge there, and the image in the center circle is the fucking Sonic the Hedgehog logo, and it's hilarious because if there's one thing I've learned from watching shows based on Sega properties, it's that Sega is extremely self-masturbatory, and they love inserting their imagery fucking everywhere. Or maybe Japan just loves Sega that much that they're willing to do that. I don't fucking know. Point is that this is about a school where like everyone fucking loves Phantasy Star Online 2 for some reason, and this guy gets chosen to join as the vice president of the student council, and his job is to play Phantasy Star Online 2 for very poorly explained reasons. They tried to explain that, like, surveys are done through it or something. I don't know. It was fucking weird. Maybe the translation was just off, but I thought the explanation made literally no sense. It was just some excuse for the guy to start playing the game, which very well may be actually the point, because I'm going to spoil the first episode for you. The super beautiful and perfect student council president plays Phantasy Star Online 2, and she seems to like it a lot. I will say one thing, I can pray, well, actually, first things first, the ED for this is actually fucking amazing. There's lots of CG dancing, and it's fucking amazing. Anyways, real positives, though. Well, I guess that was a real positive, but it's more in, like, a funny sense. In a serious sense, one positive I can say about this is they did do something interesting with the student council president. I mean, it wasn't surprising that she was actually, you know, a big player in Phantasy Star Online 2 and, like, a giant nerd. Like, you saw that coming a fucking mile away. What was interesting is that her character wasn't some stupid, skimpy character. You know, like, oh, all chicks play super fucking hot chicks in games because they're women. She actually played this super heavily armored dude, which was nice. I mean, it would be different if, like, it was a chick in the armor, because, I mean, it still would have been interesting that she was armored, but, I had imagined, because the point of the armor is to have maybe, well, I guess it doesn't need to hide who she is, because it's an in-game avatar. I'm, like, going back on my own thoughts as I talk about this in my head. It's interesting. Anyways, the point is it's interesting that they went for that angle instead, which was a nice little difference. The show's still crap, though. You probably don't want to watch this. Just unless you really like Phantasy Star Online 2, you probably should just not even bother with this. And it's just, who gives a shit. Moving on, we have Dagashi Kashi. Kokonatsu Shikata does not want to inherit his family's rural candy store as his father wishes. A girl named Hotaru, who's crazy about small-time candy stores, appears at the store and repeatedly visits in order to convince him to take it over. I wanted to watch the first episode for this, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe it's another instance of maybe I just missed it, because it seems like everyone else in, like, my Twitter timeline has seen it and I haven't. So I guess I'm just missing shows or something somewhere. So I don't have too much to say about it. It seems like people seem to like it. It has a decent sense of humor, apparently. But I did take notes because I didn't see the first episode. The director did the first 2 seasons of The World God Only Knows, and he also directed Tokyo ESP, which is a show that, like, no one watched other than me. But hey, you know, more interestingly is that there are 3 different people on the script. There are 3 different credits for the script writing, which is interesting. Maybe they bounced the jokes off the 3 of them to see they work. Well, it's an adaptation though. Why would they need to write original jokes? I don't know. Maybe as far as presentation, I have no idea. There's 3 different people on script, which is just weird. The last time there were tons of people on script was like Gakugarashi. How many people were on the Gakugarashi script? Or was it the screenwriting? I don't know. But there were like 5 people on that. It was ridiculous. But yeah, it's interesting that 3 different people are credited as script writers for this show, which is odd. I also tried to look up who did the music, but there was no music credit. So either the show has literally 0 music, or it's just a music credit that hasn't been filled out everywhere. I don't know. I checked both My Anime List and Anime News Network when... I usually check My Anime List, and then if I can't find something, I go to Anime News Network, and both of them did not list a music credit, so... Shit. I probably could have looked deeper and found it, but like I said, I do bare bones research, so... Anyways, people seem to like it. Something to give a go. It's being done by Studio Feel. They did the 2nd season of, was it Orgairu that they did the 2nd season of? All I remember is when the first episode came out, there was a concert scene that everyone was linking everywhere for being so beautifully animated. So, Feel is, Feel's working on getting their animation up, so it could be pretty pretty. Wow. Big surprise here. I don't think about things before I say them. It's just a stream of consciousness constantly, which would explain why I spend so long doing most of these, because I have no fucking filter at all. So I just keep fucking talking until something clicks in my brain and I'm like, oh fuck, I should probably move on. Kind of like right now. Moving on, we have Norn 9. No, Norn plus, no, just call it Norn 9. In the original game, the player can choose between 3 different girls as the heroine. That's actually interesting. Each with their own 3 male characters to romance. A certain song transports a boy named Sarada Suzuhara to a different era and place. Wait, a boy? He encounters 3 girls and 9 young men in this world and embarks on a journey in the skies with them in the giant Norn airship? I sound very confused reading this synopsis because I watched the first episode for this and it is not what I watched. I mean, parts of it, yes, but as far as, like, the main character, in the Norn 9 episode I saw was a girl. She arrived on the ship, and then there's stuff about, like, various groups and factions. Well, not really factions, but I guess they're, like, groups that you join to do different things, but I'm just going to call them factions because it actually seems a little political at times. It's a chick, and this is talking about some dude that joins in, about 3 different girls and 9 young men. But I guess it also includes the beginning you can choose between 3 different girls, and maybe that's because the 3 different girls join different groups or factions or whatever, and you choose a different girl depending on which one you're in. I don't know. Very interesting though. Anyways, that's kind of pointless conjecture that I can think about on my own time. I liked the first episode. It was very pretty. Lots of interesting imagery. The first episode also ends with a bang. Literally. Like, it literally ends with a bang. Well, I guess not literally. There's a few seconds afterwards, but it does end with a bang. So there's definitely... It's not the perfect first episode that you can watch and know if you want to keep watching or not. I hope that clicking didn't pick up on the microphone. That was kind of fucking weird. I wasn't doing that intentionally. It's... Like I said, it ends with a bang, so you're not really gonna... It's one of those first episodes where you're gonna watch it and you're like, oh, I guess I'll watch the next episode because, well, with how it ended, you want to know what happens next, but it seems like the kind of show you're gonna have to watch probably 2 episodes before you want to know if you want to keep watching or not, maybe even 3, so it's really hard. Like, I don't mind saying if there's, like, 1 episode, and you can judge it based on that, because... Come on, you can watch an episode of a show and decide if you want to keep going or not. Like, there's no effort there, because either you'll watch the first episode and you'll like it and you'll want to keep going, or you'll not really care, and then, 20 minutes went by? It's not that bad. Well, I guess some people don't have a whole lot of time, but then they can just decide based on these pieces of art and synopsis anyways, then, to begin with. So, hey. What was I talking about? That's the other problem with stream consciousness. I just end up somewhere and then I forget where I originally was. Norn 9, first episode. I liked it. It was pretty. I guess I could say I'm more interested in where they're going to go with Norn 9 than what literally happened in the first episode. I guess that's a bit more helpful of a thought than just, I liked it, it's pretty. I have such wonderful thoughts after watching a single episode. It's the first episode. What do you want me to say? I don't think there's anything else I could say. Like, that's my thoughts. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck. If you like Otome games, maybe watch this. If you like beautiful men, watch this. They seem set up to be the usual Otome game thing where they're all different character archetypes, so, you know, there's that. Like I said, it's hard to say because there's clearly something's gonna happen in the second episode that could very well shake how things go in the show, because nothing really happened in the first episode. A few things, but nothing really like major where you can tell how the rest of the show's gonna go, you know. But there were hints of things to come, so, you know, like I said, I'm more interested in what's going to happen than what literally did happen in the first episode.